On a beautiful 60-degree Saturday, we welcome you to the Dorothy Neely Field and Softball Complex here in Harrogate, Tennessee for a South Atlantic Conference clash between two in-state foes as the 19th-ranked Carson-Newman Eagles hit the road for its first SAC series away from home as they'll take on the Lincoln Memorial Rail Splitters here on the Lincoln Memorial Sports Network and the Eagles Sports Network. I'm Matt Scalza with you doing double duties today with a jam-packed weekend for both of these schools, especially for Lincoln Memorial hosting the first 3 rounds of the 2026 Division II Women's Basketball Tournament. The Rail Splitters top seed, and they'll take on Carson-Newman later this evening if you want to check out Andrew Rogers in that contest. But for today, we got a thrilling contest between two teams that were picked 3rd and 4th in the preseason polls. Lincoln Memorial off to an 8-14 start, 0-2 in conference play after dropping both in the opener against Emory and Henry during the midweek. Carson-Newman ranked number 19 in the country, 20-5 to start the season, 1-1 after a midweek split with UVA Wise. Malia Smith stands in the lefties' batter's box. She'll face Jasmine Kaler. The right-hander comes set and delivers the first pitch. That misses outside, ball 1. First pitch coming at 12:55 local time, a little ahead of schedule. Everyone's happy with that result. Kaler comes set. Smith nubs it in front of home plate, picked up by Kaler, and the speed of Smith is too much as she already reaches first base before Kaler even scooped it up. And so here comes Abby Martin. Here's a look at the rest of the Carson-Newman lineup. Abby Martin now comes up the center fielder batting second. Macaulay Bailey's on deck, the first baseman. Grace Gregory's third baseman batting fourth. Anne-Marie Richards is the catcher batting fifth, with Addie Saunders, the left fielder, batting sixth. The righty-on-righty matchup as Kaler comes home to Martin. She puts a bunt down, picked up by the third baseman, McMeem. She goes to first, and there's one away on the sac bunt as Malia Smith advances up to second base, and here comes Macaulay Bailey. The 7-hitter is Katie Mathena playing in right field. The designated player, Sarah Walker, bats 8th, and Reese Winchester rounds things out playing at second base. Bailey standing in the righty's batter's box. First pitch home from Kaler. Skips in the turf, and it's 1-0. Bailey in her senior season stands 10 RBIs away from tying the all-time SAC record in terms of career RBIs. Comes into this doubleheader with 229 in her illustrious career, the 1-0 home. Misses low, and it's quickly 2-0 against the star first baseman. Leads the South Atlantic Conference in batting average and RBIs coming into today's contest. The 2-0 home. Bailey chops it on the ground to third. Nice snag by McMeem off a couple of hops. Goes to first for out number 2, and Malia Smith advances up to third. McMeem robbing potentially RBI number 230 away from Macaulay Bailey on that scorching shot. A nice play by the third baseman. Looking at Lincoln Memorial defensively, Jordan Reagan is the catcher. From first to third around the infield, it is Ryan Williams, Reese Vivret, as the first pitch home to Grace Gregory. Is skitters on the ground, foul down the third base side, and it's 0-1. Gracie Palmer's the shortstop, and Hannah McMeem, who's had a busy first inning, is at third. Kristen Griffin is the left fielder with Cassidy Hack in right field, and then the center fielder is Nicole Covertier. As the next offering to Gregory misses, and the count evens up at 1-1 against the senior third baseman in her first season with Carson-Newman, transferred from North Alabama to 1-1. Misses down and in against Gregory in the righty's batter's box, and the count goes to 2-1. Creamsicle look for Carson-Newman on the road. All orange in the jersey and the pants with white pinstripes. Here comes the 2-1 to Gregory. Off speed that misses low, and it's 3-0. Eagles written in cursive across the front of the jersey with white numbers on the front and the back to mimic. LMU also in a pinstripe look with a white jersey and white tops. LMU in black letters across the front as Gregory turns on the 3-1 and chops it foul down the third base side. And the count goes to 3-2 with 2 away in the top of the first inning between these two. Malia Smith led off with a bunt, has advanced to second and to third after a pair of groundouts to the third baseman, Hannah McNeem. A little brief pause as there is something down the left field line that I cannot see. Here comes the payoff pitch to Gregory. She turns and drives it deep down the left field line, but foul. And the count stays where it is, 3 balls and 2 strikes with 2 away. Here comes another payoff from Kaler. Brushes high and inside as Gregory leans out of the way and works a 2-out walk to put runners on the corners. As here comes Anne-Marie Richards, the catcher. In her freshman season, batting .346 this season. Comes in second on the team in terms of RBIs with 23 on the season. Aggressive on the first pitch is Richards facing the righty and Kaler, righty on righty matchup. First pitch home, and Richards right on cue, drives it down the left field line for a fair ball. Gregory holds up at second as Smith comes in to score, and Anne-Marie Richards makes it 1-0 Carson-Newman here in the top of the first inning. RBI number 24 on the season for the freshman from Spring Hill, Tennessee. Brings up the left fielder, Addie Saunders. Righty on lefty matchup. Second time this inning after Malia Smith reached on a single. First offering to Saunders. Burns the outside edge. And the count goes to 0-1. The 0-1 from Kaler. Saunders cues it off the end of her bat foul. Right off of home plate. And the count quickly goes to 0-2 against the sophomore left fielder that is just batting 3 ticks below 400 on the season at .397. Has 13 RBIs so far this season. Bat rests on her shoulder. The 0-2 is outside from Kaler. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kaler has been a workhorse for LMU this season, making her 12th appearance, 8th start of the year. Comes in 3-4, the 4.65 ERA. The 1-2 to Saunders. Pops it up, shallow center field. Ranging back is the second baseman, Vivrette, and she will make the play for out number 3. But Carson-Newman strikes first on an RBI single from Anne-Marie Richards. Makes it 1-0 Eagles as we head to the bottom of the first on the Lincoln Memorial Sports Network and the Eagles Sports Network. Bottom of the first inning from Harrogate. It is a 1-0 Carson-Newman lead over Lincoln Memorial. Anne-Marie Richards breaks things open with an RBI single that drove in Malia Smith for the first run of this ball game between the 19th ranked Eagles and the Rail Splitters on this fine Saturday at the Dorothy Neely Softball Complex. Matt Scalzo with you. Here is the lineup for Lincoln Memorial. Reese Vivrette leads off. Kristen Griffin will follow, and then Hannah McNeem are the 3 due up. If it continues, the cleanup hitter is Jordan Reagan, the catcher, followed by Hannah Bogoski, the designated player. And Ryan Williams, the first baseman, bats sixth. First offering to Vivrette from Atiana Stamper is outside for ball one. In the seventh spot is Cassidy Hack, the right fielder. Nicole Covertier is the center fielder, batting eighth. And Gracie Palmer bats in the 9 spot at the shortstop position. First off, the 1-0 from Stamper catches the outer half, and it's 1-1 to Reese Vivrette. Stamper in her freshman season makes start number 9 on the year, and her 12th appearance overall. 6-1 coming into today. A 1-1 from Vivrette, hit on a line straight to the shortstop. Smith snags it on the backhand, and there's one away in the bottom of the first inning. Here's a look at Carson-Newman's defensive alignment. Abby Martin is in straightaway center. Katie Mathena joins her in right, and flanking her in left is Addie Saunders. Macaulay Bailey's the first baseman with Reese Winchester at second. Smith, the shortstop, just made the play, and Grace Gregory mans the hot corner. And Anne-Marie Richards completes the battery with Stamper, as here comes Kristen Griffin into the righty's batter's box. First offering from Stamper. Hits the bottom rail of the zone. Count goes to 0-1. Stamper has been picked up early in her last couple of starts. The 0-1, a wave and a miss from Griffin, and it's 0-2. Gave up 5 home runs in the midweek meeting with Lee last week. Suffered her first loss of the season, and then was pulled early in her start against UVA-Wise this past Tuesday. The 0-2 from Stamper catches the inner half. She puts Griffin down on 3 pitches, and quickly there's 2 away in the bottom of the first inning. As here comes Hannah McMeem. So a better start here for Stamper, the freshman out of Knoxville, Tennessee, a product of Halls High School. Picks up strikeout number 58 on her freshman campaign. First offering to McMeem, races high on the rise ball, and the count goes to 1-0, excuse me. The 1-0. Stamper finds the inner half to McMeem, and it's 1-1. McMeem, third on the team in batting average at .314 coming into today's contest, but tied for the team lead with a pair of home runs and 12 RBIs in both categories. 1-1 from Stamper. Hangs low and away against the right-handed hitting third baseman. Count goes to 2-1. McMeem and Griffin, 2 power hitters, pair of home runs and 12 RBIs for the 2. 2-1. Stamper goes to the rise ball. Cutting through it is McMeem, as the count goes to 2-2 with 2 away. As Stamper looks for a 1-2-3 frame. Here comes the 2-2. Called strike 3. Back-to-back backwards Ks for Atiana Stamper. Closes the book on a 1-2-3, bottom of the first inning. Sends us into the second. It is 1-0 Carson-Newman on LMUSN and the Eagles Sports Network. Top of the second inning here in Harrogate. 1-0, number 19 Carson-Newman leads over Lincoln Memorial through 1 inning, as Katie Mathena leads off for Carson-Newman. And the first pitch from Jasmine Kaler misses low. 1-0. 7, 8, and 9 in the Carson-Newman order Here in the second inning, Matt Scalzo with you on LMUSN and the ESN. Here comes the 1-0. Mathena chops it foul, and it's 1-1. Mathena, in her sophomore season, a native of Blacksburg, Tennessee, has enjoyed a strong start to her sophomore season, has been slowly developing and has burst onto the scene after being used as a pinch runner most of last season. The 1-1 skips in from Kaler, 2 balls and a strike. Mathena batting .360 this season. Stands in the righty's batter's box in a 2-1 count. Pitch home from Kaler. Mathena pulls it on the line to third. It's off the glove of McMean and caroms up the left field line. Leadoff single for Katie Mathena. And for the second consecutive inning, the leadoff hitter reaches for the Eagles, as McMean trying to make another stellar play over at third. Brings up the 8-hitter and designated player Sarah Walker. Freshman out of Mills River, North Carolina, stands tall in the righty's batter's box. Corners pitch in. First pitch to Walker. Comes in low. 1 ball, no strikes. Mathena over at first. First baseman Williams even with the first base bag, as is McMean over at third. 1-0, wave and a miss from Walker. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Walker is coming off a strong couple of games against UVA Wise. Has bumped her batting average up to .311 on the season, and is riding a 4-game hitting streak coming into today's contest. Shows bunt on the 1-1, puts it down in front of home plate. Picked up by McMean over at third, snaps it to first, where Vivrette is covering for out number 1. Advancing up to second goes Katie Mathena. Another smart play on a sac bunt from Carson-Newman puts another run in scoring position. Brings up Reese Winchester, the second baseman and 9-hitter for Carson-Newman. Stands in the righty's batter's box, and the first offering home from Kaler. And a strike right at the bottom part of the zone. Makes the count 0-1. Winchester, a freshman out of San Diego, California. The 0-1. Bounces in towards the catcher, Reagan. The count goes to 1-1 against Winchester's coming off a 2-for-3 game in the second contest against UVA Wise on Tuesday. Picked up an RBI, pushing her season total up to 10. The 1-1, Winchester chops it to third, and it caroms foul. One ball, 2 strikes with 1 away. Katie Mathena over at second base for Carson-Newman with a 1-0 lead after an RBI single from Anne-Marie Richards in the top of the first inning. Big gap up the middle if Winchester is able to find it. The 1-2. Foul tipped off the end of the bat from the second baseman. And the count stays where it is. McMean even with the bag over at third. Williams a step behind first base. A few yards off the right field line. The 1-2. Winchester pops it up right field line, and it drifts foul. Second baseman Vivrette and shortstop Palmer have their heels on the outfield turf. Shaded closer to their respective lines. The 1-2 bounces well in front of home plate from Kaler. Count evens up at 2-2 against Winchester, who has worked more walks than anybody on this Carson-Newman side at 19 walks this season. Next closest is Macaulay Bailey with 13. The 2-2 Winchester on the ground, a bouncer up the middle, picked up by the shortstop Palmer. A sidearm sling to first is in time for out number 2 as Mathena holds over at second base. Turns it up to the top of the order with Malia Smith. Smith 1 for 1 with a cue shot single to the pitcher Kaler. Eventually came in to score on the single from Richards. As Mathena in scoring position. First offering to Smith, misses low. 1 ball, no strikes. Smith came into today batting .461. That put her second in the sack leaderboard in terms of batting average. Also leads the conference in stolen bases as the 1-0 finds the outer half and works the count to 1-1. Carson-Newman trying to double up its advantage with Mathena in scoring position. The 1-1, Smith bounces it to third. McMean picks it up, fires to first, and it is in time for out number 3. Smith can't believe it. Neither can Hayden Dye, the graduate assistant coach over at first base, and Michael Graves straight away out of the third base coach's box in disbelief. But that'll send us to the bottom of the second inning. It is still a 1-0 Carson-Newman lead here on LMUSN and the Eagle Sports Network. Bottom of the second inning. 4, 5, and 6 for Lincoln Memorial, trailing Carson-Newman 1-0 as Atiana Stamper settles back into the circle and delivers a first pitch ball to Jordan Reagan. Hannah Bogoski and Ryan Williams, the other two due up for the Rail Splitters here in the bottom of the second inning. 1-0 from Stamper has a curveball that finds its way into the zone, 1-1. Standing in the righty's batter's box, the 1-1 to Reagan, fouled away, and not sure if it caught the mask on her batting helmet or if it came off on her follow-through to home plate. But the catcher comes in batting .286 on the season, has a home run with 8 RBIs, shows bunt, but will pull back as the 1-2 comes home from Stamper, pulls it down the left field line, and it is foul. As the count stays where it is. As Anne-Marie Richards will go out and talk with her fellow freshman and battery mate, Atiana Stamper, just in front of the circle. Pinstripe matchup between these two teams. Lincoln Memorial in the home whites with a black LMU across the front, outlined in light blue. The 1-2 pulled on the ground, foul. Third base side by Reagan. Navy blue pinstripes for the Rail Splitters. 2 navy blue stripes or piping on the collars and sleeves with a center stripe in light blue. The 1-2. Reagan pops it up and straight to the shortstop Smith for out number 1. So second inning following a similar suit to the first as Reese Vivrette lined out to the shortstop Malia Smith to get things going in the bottom of the first. Now Reagan does the same on a soft liner as Hannah Bogoski, the designated player, comes up. Team leader in batting average, batting .368 to start the 2026 season. First offering from Stamper on a rise ball that races high above the zone. Count goes to 1-0. The 1-0. Stamper finds the inner half. Levels the count at 1-1 with 1 away. Carson-Newman in its all orange creamsicle look on the road with white pinstripes on the jerseys and pants. A 1-1. Misses low from Stamper. White numbers on the front and the back of the jersey with Eagles written in cursive across the front. White socks with 2 orange stripes, and for those that opt to wear it, an orange visor. The one of choice for the Eagles today. The 2-1. Misses inside from Stamper to Bogoski, and the count goes to 3-1. Who stands in the righty's batter's box and is the 5-hitter in today's lineup. Here comes the 3-1. Bogoski shoots it foul down the first base side, and it hits off the brick above the Carson-Newman dugout. And so the count runs full with 1 gone in the bottom of the second inning. A 1-0 Carson-Newman lead as they plated 1 in the first inning, a single from Anne-Marie Richards. Stamper looks in. Here comes the payoff pitch. And it misses high. Bogoski's the first rail splitter to reach base today. The 1-out walk. And that brings up Ryan Williams, the first baseman. Williams this season making her 7th start on the year, 17th appearance overall. And is batting .269 to start this season. Stands in the lefty's batter's box. Sophomore out of Newark, Illinois. First offering buzzes a tower as she leans out of the way. And the count goes to 1-0. Finds the zone from Stamper. Count evens up at 1-1. Bogoski over at first base, 6 for 6 on stolen bases this season. The 1-0 is a rise ball that Williams lays off of. Count goes to 2-1. Corners pinching in for Carson-Newman with Macaulay Bailey, even with the first base bag. Grace Gregory at third. About 4 steps in front of the third base bag. The 2-1, a wave and miss from Williams as Stamper goes back to the rise ball, and this time it is too tempting for the first baseman. Count goes to 2-2. Righty on lefty matchup. Stamper home on the break even. Called strike 3 on the outside corner. Third strikeout for Atiana Stamper. All have been by the looking variety. And that puts 2 away for Cassidy Hack, who comes up to bat, the right fielder. First offering from Stamper to Hack, misses upstairs 1-0 with Two away here in the bottom of the second inning, a 1-0 Carson-Newman lead. Bogoski over at first after a one-out walk represents the tying run for LMU. 1-0 to Hack. This is high, 2 balls and no strikes. Hack batting .260 to start this season. Has gotten on base at a .309 clip. As here comes the 2-0. Stamper burns the inside corner, 2 balls and a strike. A soft liner up the middle. Smithfield snaps it to first, and it's in time for out number 3. Hack looked like she was safe over at first, but she doesn't get the call, and that is back-to-back third outs in both of this, the top of the second and in the bottom of the second. Both runners have the right to be upset, in my mind, that they were safe over at first, but either way, it sends us to the third, unless there's going to be an appeal coming from Lincoln Memorial's head coach here. Does not appear so, so we will head into the third inning with a 1-0 Carson-Newman lead here on LMUSN and the Eagle Sports Network. Okay, no, you're good. Which one do you want me to mute? 3 or 4? Or not mute, I should say. Top of the third inning, picked up on the crowd mic that Michael Graves said now we're even after 2 controversial calls to end the top of the second and the bottom of the second. Sends us to the third as Abby Martin leads off. A 1-0 Carson-Newman lead, and the first pitch from Jasmine Kaler misses low for ball 1 to the center fielder. She has had a sac bunt her last time up. 1-0. Martin lifts it in the air, shallow left center field. Kristen Griffin, the left fielder, comes on and squeezes it for out number 1 here in the top of the third inning. 2, 3, and 4 due up for Carson-Newman. Brings up Macaulay Bailey. She grounded out to the third baseman McNean her last time up. First offering to her, misses low, and it's 1-0. The 1-0 is a touch low, 2 balls and no strikes. Cassidy Hack thought she had continued the inning on an infield single in the bottom of the second, but she was called out over at first base. 2-0, Bailey on the ground, a seeing eye single through the left side of the infield that splits through the 5-6 hole. And Bailey is aboard with a 1-out base hit. And the top half of the third inning. Brings up Grace Gregory, the third baseman, worked a walk her last time up. First offering to her, bounces in from Kaler, 1 ball, no strikes. This part of the order has been so dangerous for Carson-Newman in this season between Bailey, Gregory, and Richards. 1-0. Gregory lifts it, towering pop-up into shallow center field. Covertier, excuse me. The center fielder moves in, and she is there for out number 2 in the top half of the 3rd inning. Brings up Anne-Marie Richards. As I said, AM doesn't waste any time. It's very aggressive on the first pitch she sees. First offering from Kaler this time. She takes as it misses down and in, and it's 1-0. Picked up RBI number 24 on the season for the freshman catcher. Broke things open here in the top of the 1st inning. A 1-0 Carson-Newman lead as Richards, a hard line drive that is picked up by the 3rd baseman McMean. She dropped it for a moment, but didn't matter. It was out number 3 regardless, as Richards is robbed and McMean continues her hot start defensively at 3rd. Sends us to the bottom half. It is a 1-0 Carson-Newman lead on the Eagles Sports Network and LMUSN. Bottom of the 3rd inning, 8-9-1 for Lincoln Memorial here. Matt Scalzo with you on the Eagles Sports Network and LMUSN. Double duties today, as it is a jam-packed weekend in Harrogate. These two teams not just facing off on the diamond, but also on the hardwood. And the 2nd round of the women's basketball tournament. Tip-off set for 7:30 between these two. As first offering misses high to Nicole Covertier, the center fielder who leads off. Rail Splitters, top seed overall in the Southeast region. Took down Lees McRae yesterday in the opening round as the 1-0 from Stamper clips the inner half to Covertier, and the count goes to 1-1. Carson-Newman got a win over Columbus State out of the Peach Belt last night in the nightcap of day 1 from Tex Turner Arena. 1-1. Stamper goes back to the inner half and notches another strike as the count goes to 1-2 against Covertier. Women's basketball teams split the regular season series, both home teams winning the contest. The 1-2, Covertier, a hard liner that caroms off the brick above the LMU dugout on the 3rd base side. Keeps the count where it is. .280 hitter for Covertier, appearing in her 20th game of the season. Here comes the 1-2 from Stamper. Skips in low. Evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Last season it was Carson-Newman that won the series overall between the two schools, 2-1, but LMU got the last laugh with a 7-1 win in the SAC tournament. 2-2. Stamper pulls it high and outside on the rise ball, and the count runs full against the leadoff hitter, Covertier. Carson-Newman won both regular season meetings. 3-2, swing and a miss as Stamper goes upstairs on the rise ball. Their strikeout number 4 for Atiana Stamper. First of the looking variety for the freshman. She's up to 61 strikeouts now on the season. Brings up the 9-hitter and shortstop Gracie Palmer. Standing in the righty's batter's box. First offering, shows bunt, pulls back as it misses inside and she pops out of the way. Top of the order, and Reese Vivrette looms on deck for LMU. The 1-0. Pulled high and outside from Stamper, 2 balls and no strikes. Beautiful 62-degree day in Harrogate. Two-0. Misses just a touch inside from Stamper. And so Palmer in the driver's seat with a 3-0 count. Trying to work another 1-out walk. Bogosky did the same in the bottom half of the second. Here's the 3-0. And that hits Palmer on her lead left leg on the lower part of her thigh. So either way, she was heading down the first base. Whether it was going to be a walk or what she got in the hit by pitch. And so she's the second base runner to reach for LMU as it turns back over now to the top of the order with Reese Vivrette. The second baseman is 0 for 1 with a line out to the shortstop, Malia Smith. LMU still without a hit so far, the first time through the order, but 2 have gotten on. One via free pass and the other by a hit by pitch as Vivrette puts a bunt down. Third base side, picked up by the third baseman, Gregory. And she'll snap a throw to first. On the move, it's snagged by the first baseman, Macaulay Bailey, and there's 2 away. As Gracie Palmer advances up to second base. Brings up Kristen Griffin with the tying run in scoring position for the Rail Splitters. First offering, Griffin pops it up behind home plate, and that will land just past the press box. And the count moves to 0-1 against Kristen Griffin, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Here comes the 0-1. And Griffin pops it up out of play down the first base side. And now Stamper quickly ahead, 0-2. Trying to strand the tying run in scoring position, represented by Gracie Palmer over at second. Here comes the 0-2. Griffin pops it up shallow right field. The second baseman, Winchester, ranges back into the gap and makes the play for out number 3. So Palmer stranded on the bases after a 1-out hit by pitch sends us into the 4th inning. It is still a 1-0 lead for number 19 Carson-Newman over LMU on the LMU Sports Network and the Eagle Sports Network. Into the 4th inning we go from the Dorothy Neely Softball Complex here on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University. Matt Scalzo with you on LMUSN and the Eagle Sports Network. 6, 7, and 8 for Carson-Newman due up here in the Top half of the fourth inning, a 1-0 lead for the 19th ranked Eagles. A RBI single from Anne-Marie Richards in the top of the first inning brought across the lone run in this first contest between these two teams. Addie Saunders leads off for Carson-Newman. Popped out to the shortstop her last time up. Swings on the first pitch and grounds it straight to the second baseman, Vivrette. Scoops it off the turf and with a submarine toss to first, retires Saunders for out number 1. Here in the top half of the fourth inning, Carson-Newman has left a runner on in each of the last 2 innings. Left 2 on in the first, as Mathena swings on the first pitch. Grounds it to McMean, the third baseman, and she zings across the diamond for out number 2. 2 pitches and 2 outs for Jasmine Kaler. She looks for a 1-2-3 inning on just 3 pitches as well, as she'll face the designated player and Sarah Walker. Righty on righty matchup. Walker had a sac bunt her last time up in the second. First offering to her is an off speed that misses low and goes to the backstop. And so it will not be a 1-2-3 inning with just 3 pitches for Kaler. Could still be a 1-2-3 inning. She's able to retire Sarah Walker. Here comes the 1-0. Walker on the ground, straight to McMean at third. And instead of 3 pitches, it's just 4 for Kaler as she puts them down. 1-2-3 in the top of the fourth inning. Sends us to the bottom half. It is a 1-0 Carson-Newman lead over LMU on the Lincoln Memorial Sports Network and the Eagle Sports Network. Things moving quickly here at the Dorothy Neely Softball Complex. Bottom of the fourth inning now coming up as Jasmine Kaler puts Carson-Newman down in order in the top of the fourth inning on just 4 pitches, as now it's 3, 4, and 5 for the Rail Splitters facing Atiana Stamper in the bottom half of the fourth inning. And it begins with Hannah McMean, the third baseman, who's had a busy day defensively. Struck out looking her lone time to the dish in the first inning, and takes the first pitch strike from Atiana Stamper as the count goes to 0-1. Righty on righty matchup as the 0-1 from Stamper comes in, and McMean fouls it straight back over top the press box. And I heard some oohs and ahs from a crowd, so possibly it hit a car, as the parking lot runs straight along the back side of the press box and all the way down the road next to the baseball field, as the 0-2 is popped up into shallow right field off the end of the bat from McMean. And Keita Mathena is there for out number 1. Strategically moved by Carr a little further down the line to find that kind of nice in-between ground between softball and baseball, as I was directed by the lovely staff here at Dorothy Neely Softball Complex on what to do to avoid disaster. His first offering to Jordan Reagan misses high. It is a doubleheader in 2 sports. Also doubleheader at the Lamar Hennons Baseball Complex for The Rail Splitters, as the 1-0 misses high from Stamper, they're taking on Coker in baseball. And it is currently a 1-0 lead for the Cobras in game one. And in the top of the fourth inning over there, the 2-0 from Stamper notches the inside corner against Reagan. And the count goes to 1-0. Carson-Newman baseball also in action there at Emory and Henry. 2-1, misses high and outside from Stamper. 3 balls and a strike. 6-0 for the Eagles over the Wasps in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Carson-Newman got a run rule victory yesterday over E&H. And a legal pitch, I believe, called against Stamper, and it's ball 4. So that sends Reagan over to first base. And Stamper disagreeing with the call. And so she'll settle back in. LMU baseball riding a 5-game winning streak. Took down Coker 13-2 yesterday. So here comes Hannah Bogosky, who worked a walk her last time up. First offering skips in. 1 ball, no strikes. As tying run is on the bases, represented by Jordan Reagan, the catcher. Corners are in for Carson-Newman. Third baseman Gregory creeping closer, as is the first baseman Bailey, as the 1-0 misses inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Righty on righty matchup against Bogosky, who stands off the plate as her heels touching the outer half of the righty's batter's box. The 2-0. Stamper misses upstairs. Snap throw down to first by Richards. And back standing up is Reagan as the count moves to 3-0. Here comes the 3-0. Stamper finds the inner half. Count goes to 3-1 against Hannah Bogosky. Reached on a walk back in the 2nd inning. In command of this at-bat with a 3-1 count. As Reagan over at first, the 3-1. Bogosky soft liner over the head of the first baseman Bailey. Picked up by the second baseman Winchester in right field. But with so much spin by Bogosky, she's able to reach first base safely. As Reagan advances up to second base. And Bogosky has reached both times today. As pitching coach Holly Tucker-Vance will walk out of the first base side dugout for Carson-Newman and try to calm things down for her freshman pitcher. Similar meeting going on down the third base side for this LMU staff, led by Richie Richardson and Caitlin Gamboni. As they meet with Ryan Williams and Cassidy Hack, who stands on deck. Williams coming up to bat, and then 2 on base in Bogosky and Reagan. As the infield and catcher for Carson-Newman joins Tucker-Vance as she now walks back to the first base side dugout. Bottom of the 4th inning, it is a 1-0 lead for number 19 Carson-Newman over LMU. But the Rail Splitters threatening with the tying run in scoring position, represented by Jordan Reagan, and then the go-ahead run over at first in Hannah Bogosky. As here is Ryan Williams standing in the lefty's batter's box, and the first pitch from Stamper misses in the righty's batter's box, and it's 1-0. 72nd all-time meeting between these two schools. Carson-Newman leads the all-time series 46-25. The 1-0. Misses high and inside, 2 balls and no strikes. Here comes the 2-0. Called strike that clips the outside corner to the lefty and Williams. 2 balls and a strike. Carson-Newman took both regular season meetings last year in Jefferson City. The 2-1 from Stamper goes upstairs with a rise ball, and Williams cuts and misses, evening the count at 2-2. They met almost a week ago today in 2025. The doubleheader came on March 8th, and we are 6 days later on the 14th. 2-2, swing and a miss. Williams down swinging. She got ahead 2-0, but Stamper comes back with 3 consecutive strikes and gets a much-needed second out on her 5th punch-out of the afternoon. Brings up Cassidy Hack, who grounded out to the shortstop Malia Smith their last time up. Righty-on-righty matchup against Stamper, the first offering to Hack. There's a ball that misses inside. Stamper has consistently started with her first pitch working inside against right-handed hitters. Has a screwball and a curveball. Screwball tends to work in against the righties. Has developed her rise ball throughout the season. Has a tremendous changeup as well. Here comes the 1-0. Stamper moves inside once more, and Hack shimmies out of the way as the count goes to 2-0. Hack thought she had gotten an infield single in the bottom of the second, but was called out at first. Here comes the 2-0. Misses low from Stamper, 3 balls and no strikes against the right fielder Hack. Nicole Covertier, the center fielder, stands on deck, and then if it gets any further, it'd be Gracie Palmer, 9-hitter who stands in the hole. Bogoski at first, Reagan at second. The 3-0 to Hack is a ball inside. It is a 4-pitch walk to load the bases for LMU here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. And so now the tying run 60 feet away. The go-ahead run over at second, as here comes Nicole Covertier. Covertier, 280 hitter coming into today, just 1 RBI this season. For the senior out of Knoxville, swings on the first pitch, and it bounces foul down the third base side, 0-1. Picked up that RBI on February 25th, and doubleheader contest against Lee. That was 8 contests to go. Righty-on-righty matchup. Here's the 0-1 from Stamper as Covertier pops it up. Foul ground, third base side. Third baseman Gregory runs over, and it runs out of room as it hits off the hands of one fan and into the glove of another young fan. Gets a round of applause from everyone in attendance. But on the diamond, the count moves to 0-2 against Covertier. Climbs into the righty's batter's box, crowding the plate against Stamper. The righty comes home on the 0-2. Covertier down the left field line, and it drifts foul. Out in front of that pitch from Stamper. Best opportunity so far for Lincoln Memorial. They picked up their first hit on an infield single from Bogoski. The other two have gotten on via walks. It's Reagan at third, Bogosky at second and Cassidy Hack at first. The 0-2. Covertier, soft liner, straight to the shortstop Smith, and that ends the threat in the bottom of the 4th inning. Stamper works around traffic on the bases and sends us into the 5th. It is still a 1-0 Carson-Newman lead over Lincoln Memorial on LMUSN and the Eagle Sports Network. Number 19, Carson-Newman with a 1-0 lead over Lincoln Memorial through 4 innings here on the LMU Sports Network and the Eagle Sports Network. Matt Scalzo with you. Glad you could join me. Jasmine Kaler worked a quick top of the 4th inning, just threw 4 pitches in a 1-2-3 frame, and her offense trying to even things up for her, but she's going to have to keep this Carson-Newman offense at bay, and she's done a really good job at that so far. 9-1-2 for Carson-Newman. It begins with Reese Winchester, and then it's back to the top of the order with Malia Smith. First offering to Winchester goes the other way with a sinking line drive towards right field, but there is the right fielder Hack moving into the gap for out number 1. Great jump from Cassidy Hack on a pitch from Winchester, or a ball from Winchester that just seemed to hang up in the air. Turns things over to Malia Smith in the top of this Carson-Newman order. Smith, the star freshman out of Knoxville, product of Gibbs High School. First offering catches the outer half from Kaler, and the count goes to 0-1. Won a state championship last year with fellow Eagle teammate Lacey Keck. Has extended her hitting streak to 5 consecutive games. As the 0-1 misses, 1 ball and a strike. Has reached base in the last 12 contests. Has Smith. Tremendous speed for the leadoff hitter. 1-0. Smith pops it the other way towards left field. Long run for the shortstop, and Palmer, she can't get there. Picked up by the left fielder and Griffin, but Smith with her speed goes to second on a head-first dive. It'll be ruled as a double for Malia Smith. Gives a chance for Carson-Newman to add on to its advantage with the second run of the game in scoring position. Abby Martin coming up to bat. So Smith now 2 for 3. First offering to Martin is inside, and it's 1-0. Martin 0 for 1 today. Had a sac bunt in the first and then flew out to left her last time up in the third. Senior out of Gadsden, Alabama, has been enjoying a career year to get things going in 2026 as the 1-0 misses inside. It's 2-0. Riding a 5-game hitting streak. Here's the 2-0. Skips in, 3 balls, no strikes. Has had a multi-hit game in 4 of her last 5. It's coming off a day where she went 4 for 8, 3 runs scored across the 2 doubleheader games against the Highland Cavaliers on Tuesday. 3-0 to Martin. Is a called strike at the bottom part of the zone. Thought she had worked a walk. And now she'll return to the righty's batter's box. Comes into today with 22 RBIs through the first 25 games. Just 2 off her career best in the season. She had 24 as a sophomore through 49 games. 3-1, Martin, line drive towards second, picked up on a couple of hops by Palmer. Smith trying to advance over to third, and she is tagged out. The strong throw by the first baseman Williams and the tag applied by McMean ends the top of the 5th inning where Carson-Newman was threatening. A 6-3-5 double play to end the top of the 5th inning sends us to the bottom half. It is still a 1-0 Carson-Newman league on the LMU Sports Network and the Eagle Sports Network. Just your standard 6-3-5 double play to end the top of the 5th inning for LMU. The defense trying to spur some momentum for the offense after Malia Smith had a double with 1 out in the top of the 5th. Tried to advance on a ground out from Abby Martin, and she was thrown out by Ryan Williams. And so Gracie Palmer leads off for LMU. 9-1-2 for the Rail Splitters here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. And Atiana Stamper starts Palmer with a strike on the inner half, and the count goes to 0-1. LMU had the bases loaded in the bottom half of the 4th inning, but a line out from Nicole Covertier ended the inning and left the bases juiced. The 0-1, a soft pop-up straight to the shortstop Smith, an underhand scoop for out number 1 as she holds on to it. And it turns back over now to the top of the LMU order with Reese Vivrette. Line out to the shortstop Smith and a sac bunt, her 2 times to the plate today. It's been a pitcher's duel today between Kaler and Stamper. First offering is pushed away and fouled down the third base side by Vivrette. And the count goes to 0-1. Quick timeout as I exchange which softballs are being used. Here's the 0-1. Stamper goes down the chute with a changeup that freezes Vivrette, and it's 0-2. Stamper already with 5 strikeouts on the day. Had 4 her first time through the order. Just 1 the second time. Here comes the 0-2. Vivrette, soft liner, picked up on 1 hop by the shortstop Smith, and a quick movement and a strong throw to first is in time for out number 2 here in the bottom half of the 5th. Smith responsible for both putouts today, or putouts in the 5th, and has been a key cog in multiple putouts today. That is her 6th of the afternoon. So here comes Kristen Griffin. First pitch is a rise ball from Stamper that hangs upstairs, and the count goes to 1-0. Here comes the 1-0. Stamper works inside, and it finds the inner half against Griffin. Count goes to 1-1 with 2 away. Misses low as it skips off the turf from Stamper. 2 balls and a strike to Kristen Griffin. 0 for 2 today. Struck out looking back in the first and then popped out to the second baseman Winchester to bookend bottom half of the 3rd inning. Here's the 2-1. Griffin turns, lifts a towering fly ball down the left field line. Saunders races over into the corner. It lands out of play for a long strike 2. Squares things up at 2 strikes. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 away. Bases empty in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Here comes the break even from Stamper. Griffin turns on it, lines it foul down the left field line. Griffin with a pair of home runs this season. Tied for the team lead with Hannah McMean. Here comes another 2-2. Griffin line drive, snagged out of the air by the third baseman Gregory, who climbs the ladder for out number 3. A 1-2-3 bottom half of the 5th inning for Atiana Stamper sends us into the 6th. It is still 1-0. Number 19, Carson-Newman over LMU on the LMU Sports Network. Three, 4, and 5 for Carson-Newman in the top half of the 6th inning. It is a 1-0 lead for the 19th ranked Eagles over the Rail Splitters of Lincoln Memorial in game 1 of 2 today from the Dorothy Neely Softball Complex. Matt Scalzo with you. Double duties on Lincoln Memorial Sports Network and the Eagles Sports Network. As first offering from Jasmine Kaler. Bounces across the turf into home plate, and it's 1-0 to Macaulay Bailey, who's 1 for 2. Singled her last time up in the 3rd. March is truly upon us as, oh, here comes Michael Graves to talk with Macaulay Bailey over down the third base side, but already an upset in the men's D2 tournament. Columbus State taking down the 3-seed Catawba, who is the runner-up in South Atlantic Conference tournament last week. Here comes the 1-0. This is low to Bailey. 2 balls and no strikes. LMU's men's team will be playing later today. They're taking on the 2-seed Lander. Here comes the 2-0. High and outside 3-0. LMU punched its ticket to the big dance after a miraculous buzzer beater of sorts against Carson-Newman in the first round of the SAC tournament last week. E.J. Smith purposely misses a free throw, gets it back as here comes the 3-0 from Bailey, drives it deep in the air towards center field. Back up against the wall goes Covertier, and she is there to make the grab for long, out number 1. Bailey tries to go to the deepest part of the park at 220 in straightaway center and comes just a few feet short. 2:15 down each lines here at the Dorothy Neely Softball Complex, but E.J. Smith purposely misses a free throw, gets it back, is fouled, gets the and one and makes the free throw to eke out a 68-67 win for Lincoln Memorial over Carson-Newman. What was a play-in game for all intents and purposes last week in Rock Hills. The first offering to Gregory missed low, and it's 1-0. Next offering as Gregory steps on it, deep towards center. Covertier now a couple of steps in front of the warning track is there for out number 2. So a pair of putouts for the center fielder. Puts 2 quickly away in the top half of the 6th inning and brings up Anne-Marie Richards. First offering to Richards, bounces in front of home plate, 1-0. The LMU men's team trying to see if they've got a little magic in them under first-year head coach Tony Jasic. Comes in as the 7th seed, trying to take down Peach Belt Conference champions in Lander as the 1-0 is off the mark. And the count goes to 2-0. Here comes the 2-0. And that misses low to Richards. 3 consecutive balls from Kaler. Richards is 1 for 2. Had an RBI single in the first for the lone run of the contest that drove in Malia Smith, and then lined out to the shortstop Palmer her last time up. Here comes the 3-0. Richards, a chopper to left side of the infield. On a couple of hops, it's picked up by Palmer. Long throw into first. It is not in time as Richards able to hustle down the line and get in to first on an infield single. And she gets 2 for 3 on the day. Brings up Addie Saunders, who stands in the lefty's batter's box. Left fielder is 0 for 2 today. First offering to Saunders. Notches the outer half. No balls and a strike. Pop out and a ground out. And has been the afternoon so far for the sophomore out of Radford, Virginia, the 0-1. Comes in low off the turf, and the count goes to 1-1. Here comes the 1-1. Catches the outer half against Saunders, and the count goes to 1-2. Open stance for Saunders in the lefty's batter's box. Here comes the 1-2. Misses low and away. Count levels up at 2-2 with 2 away. Richards over at first base. The inning is to continue. It's Katie Mathena that stands on deck for Carson-Newman. And the 2-2. Saunders, a slow roller right back to the pitcher, Kaler. Tosses to first. And that brings the top of the 6th to a close as Richards is left stranded on the bases after a 2-out single. Sends us to the bottom half. It is still 1-0 Carson-Newman over LMU on LMUSN and the Eagle Sports Network. Bottom of the 6th inning from the Dorothy Neely Softball Complex. It is a 1-0 lead for number 19 Carson-Newman over Lincoln Memorial here in game 1 of 2 on this Saturday South Atlantic Conference clash between 2 in-state rivals. Carson-Newman got the lone run in the top of the 1st inning. It's been nothing but goose eggs for both sides since. It's 3, 4, and 5 to lead things off in the bottom half of the 6th as Hannah McMean takes the first pitch ball inside from Atiana Stamper, and the count goes to 1-0. The 1-0. Stamper works outside on a curveball that clips the outside corner against the righty McMean, and it's 1-1. McMean is 0 for 2, a strikeout looking and a pop out to right field. Heard 2 times to the plate. Here comes the 1-1. McMean, hard line drive down the left field line. That is a fair ball into the corner. She motors around first on her way to second. A leadoff double for Hannah McMean. gets things going for LMU here in the bottom of the 6th inning. It is the first leadoff base runner for the Rail Splitters today. And just the second hit against Atiana Stamper. And this is the part of the order for the Rail Splitters that threatened in the bottom half of the 4th inning, that loaded the bases. Started with a walk from Reagan, who comes up to the plate, then Bogoski with a single. Another walk from Cassidy Hack, but Rail Splitters left the bases loaded. Now they come in with a bigger advantage as Reagan shifts out of the way and takes the first pitch ball on a screwball from Stamper that misses inside. Count goes to 1-0. This has been a point of weakness for Carson-Newman, is clinging to these late leads and holding on to them. They've done a better job this season than last year, but still the late leads haven't been strongest success, as the 1-0 grounded foul down the third base side by Reagan levels the count at 1-1. Soft line out in the second and then walked back in the 4th. Here comes the 1-1 from Stamper. Moves inside against the righty Reagan, and count goes to 2-1. Righty on righty matchup against the catcher Jordan Reagan. Has the tie run in scoring position and Hannah McMean after a leadoff double. Here comes the 2-1. Swing and a miss as Stamper goes upstairs on the rise ball, and Reagan can't lay off it. Count stands at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 5 strikeouts for Stamper this afternoon. Here comes the 2-2. Off speed hangs upstairs, 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3 walks for Stamper, trying to avoid number 4. And the second consecutive against Reagan. Here comes the payoff pitch. Rise ball that hangs upstairs, and the first 2 have reached in the bottom of the 6th for LMU. The second consecutive time Jordan Reagan has worked a walk. And there will be a pinch runner coming in for the Rail Splitters. It'll be
2-0 running for first.
Initially said to be 2-0, but it is 2-4. Brianna Bear has come in place of Reagan over at first. Senior out of Wesley Chapel, Florida. First offering to Hannah Bogoski, misses high and outside, 1-0. So here's another high leverage situation for Atiana Stamper. She's done such a good job at it this season. Here comes the 94th pitch of the afternoon. Misses high and outside, and it's 2-0 now against Bogoski. Righty on righty, the 2-0 home. Misses high, 3 balls and no strikes. Stamper has not come close to hitting the zone. On her first 3 offerings against Bogoski, who has reached base both times today. A walk and then a single back in the 4th, which up until the leadoff double from Hannah McMean was the lone hit for the Rail Splitters. 3-0. Outside, and it's a 4-pitch walk to load the bases with nobody out in the bottom of the 6th for LMU. Back-to-back walks to follow off the leadoff double from Hannah McMean. Leads to a visit in the circle from pitching coach Holly Tucker-Vance. She's trying to work her way through this tumultuous bottom half of the 6th inning for Carson-Newman. When talking with head coach Michael Graves following the split against UVA Wise during the midweek, he said he hates splitting, and especially in a series like today against LMU, a team that was picked ahead of them in the SAC standings in the preseason poll, but has gotten off to a tough start. Have played strong competition throughout the first 20 games of the regular season before getting into conference play. This LMU team has been battle tested. Split with North Georgia, a top 10 team nationally last week, before dropping both of their opening contests against Emory and Henry to get SAC play going. Now has a chance to potentially upset 19th ranked Carson-Newman and one of their rivals. First pitch, this is high to Ryan Williams, who stands in the lefty's batter's box. The count goes to 1-0. Stamper has struggled to find the zone. Has walked 2 consecutive and misses on the first pitch to Williams. Infield is in for the Eagles. The 1-0. Stamper finds the bottom rail, and the count goes to 1-1. The 1-1. Williams pops it up. This will stay on the infield, and the infield fly rule is on, and the catch is made by Malia Smith. So there's a much-needed first out for Carson-Newman, and Atiana Stamper brings up Cassidy Hack, the right fielder. Hack is 0 for 1, a ground out and a walk. Righty-on-righty matchup against the right fielder. First offering from Stamper. Hack turns, pops it up, shallow left field. Saunders, the left fielder, moves in, calls off Smith, and makes the catch for out number 2, and everybody stays put where they are. And so now Stamper, after the first 3 reached, stands 1 out away from getting out of the inning. And she looks to get through Nicole Covertier to send us into the 7th inning here in game 1. Covertier 0 for 1, a strikeout and a soft line out. Her 2 times against Stamper today. First offering, Covertier, soft liner into left field. Smith moves back and makes the play. Stamper buckles down. First 3 reached for LMU. She puts down the next 3 in order and sends us into the 7th. It is still a 1-0 Carson-Newman lead over LMU on LMUSN and the Eagle Sports Network. LMU goes to the bullpen here in the top of the 7th inning. They'll go to Katie Fultz, who comes in with a 6.48 ERA, making her 13th appearance on the season. Has gone 35 2/3 innings this season, has struck out 22, walked 16. Trying to hold things where they are against 7, 8, and 9 in the Carson-Newman order. Matt Scalzo with you on the Eagle Sports Network and LMUSN as the first offering to Mathena. Misses inside. And the count is at 1-0. That closes the book on Jasmine Kaler. 1-0 finds the zone against Mathena. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kaler went 6 innings, allowing just 1 hit one run on 6 hits with a walk, no strikeouts. 1-1, Mathena jam shot inside, and ball bounces foul before it is picked up by the first baseman, Ryan Williams. As it stands, Kaler is in line for the loss. Mathena's 1 for 2, singled back in the second, grounded out her last time up in the fourth. The 1-2, high and outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2, foul tipped, and it's squeezed by the catcher, Reagan, for out number 1. And so Fultz has first strikeout for the Rail Splitters this afternoon. Puts 1 away in the top of the 7th. Brings up Sarah Walker. First pitch swing for Walker, and it's a seeing eye single up the middle for a 1-out base hit. And so Walker continues her hitting streak on the season, extending her streak to 5 consecutive games. And it looks like head coach Michael Graves will be going to the dugout for a pinch runner in this spot as Carson-Newman picks up its 7th base hit on the afternoon. And it will be Emma Romika coming in this spot.
49 for 22.
So Emma Romiko, with her high school teammate Reese Winchester standing in the righty's batter's box, is on as a pinch runner. And the first offering from Fultz finds the zone against Winchester, and it's 0-1. Romika and Winchester, both natives of San Diego, California, played their high school softball together at Foothills Christian, as the 0-1 by Winchester hit on the ground to third. McMean goes to second for 1, but they can't turn it quick enough as Winchester reaches on a fielder's choice. Turns things over to the top of the order with Malia Smith. It was the lone run to score for Carson-Newman today. First pitch swing, Smith on the ground, straight to McMean at third, snaps it to first, and the inning is over. Fultz comes on, tosses up a 0 for the 6th consecutive inning for LM or the shortstop. Then it'll be Reese Vivrette and Kristen Griffin at the top of this LMU order due up as Stamper has buckled down in 2 of the last 3 innings. Has left the bases loaded in the 4th and in the 6th. The biggest threat came in the 6th inning. First 3 reached for the Rail Splitters. A double from McMean, a pair of walks from Reagan and Bogoski, and then the next 3 were put down by Stamper. As here's the first pitch from Gracie Palmer. And Stamper starts her with a strike to get ahead 0-1. Stamper looking for her 5th complete game in her freshman season. The 0-1 misses inside, and the count goes to 1-1. Stamper came into this inning with 100 pitches on the dot, now up to 102 on the afternoon. Here comes the 1-1. Misses low, and it's 2-0 now to Gracie Palmer. She was hit by a pitch in the 4th and then lined out back in the 5th. Here comes the 2-1. Palmer fouls it straight back, and it's 2-2. Balls and 2 strikes. The pitch home from Stamper. Soft liner into right center field for Gracie Palmer. It's a leadoff base hit, and the tying run is aboard for LMU. 2nd consecutive inning that the leadoff hitter gets aboard after the double from McMean, and now the single here from Gracie Palmer to get things going in the bottom of the 7th. Turns it over to the top of the order with Reese Vivrette. Vivrette is 0 for 2. Line out, sack bunt, ground out. Pops up on the first bunt attempt she shows, and it hits the netting behind home plate. Goes to 0-1. Vivrette in the lefty's batter's box against the righty in Stamper, the 0-1. Vivrette pops it up, and it goes to the backstop behind home plate off of the netting. As the count goes to 0-2, the corners were in for Carson-Newman and Macaulay Bailey at first and Grace Gregory at third. They'll stay in, both about 4 steps in front of their respective bags. The 0-2, Vivrette chops at it and fouls it away. No balls, 2 strikes. The tying run in Palmer over at first base, and a winning run at the dish. Here comes the 0-2. Swing and a miss. Vivrette down swinging, as there is strikeout number 6 for Atiana Stamper. Puts one away in the 7th. There was a back throw from Richards, and Palmer was back in ahead of the tag from Macaulay Bailey. And here comes Kristen Griffin, the left fielder, who is 0 for 3, but has plenty of pop in her bat. Her and McMean, next 2 due up, both with a pair of home runs on the season. First offering to Griffin is an off-speed from Stamper that stamps the inside corner. Count goes to 0-1. Here comes the 0-1 from Stamper. This is inside against Griffin. 1 ball and 1 strike with 1 away. A righty on righty matchup for the 2-hitter in this LMU order. Represents the go-ahead run here in the bottom of the 7th. A 1-0 Carson-Newman lead. Lone run coming in the top of the first inning. 1-1, Griffin, a towering pop-up that will stay on the infield. Stamper out of the circle and will make the play for out number 2. And head coach Michael Graves walks out of the first base side dugout and seems very upset with his infield in this situation, and trying to buckle down here with 2 outs. And in my time with Coach Graves, he's probably upset because it was Stamper that made the play. He doesn't like it when pitcher, the catcher, is the one that has to make the play. I've seen that same scenario play out when Anne-Marie Richards makes a play in foul ground. Stamper played infield in high school. Here's the first pitch to Hannah McMean that misses down and inside, and the count goes to 1-0 with 2 away. Still the tying run over at first base, represented by Gracie Palmer. McMean, who is 1 for 3, doubled her last time up in the 6th. Here's the 1-0. McMean turns on it and drives it foul down the left field line and out of play. Knots the count up at 1-1 with 2 away. Carson-Newman has been very good in these spots, but it has also struggled to close out games at times. Here's the 1-1 to McMean. Stamper goes to the off-speed. It finds the zone, and she stands 1 strike away from shutting the door. She left the bases loaded in the 4th and the 6th as the tying run over at first in Gracie Palmer. Counts at 1-2 with 2 away. Stamper looking for her 5th complete game on the season. The 1-2. McMean hard liner, and it's past Smith at short, and it goes into the left center field gap. It's all the way to the wall. Palmer races around third, and she's in to score. A game-tying 2-out, 2-strike double from Gracie Palmer. Knots it up at 1 in the bottom of the 7th. Back-to-back doubles from Hannah McMean. This time, the double ties the game. And she represents the winning run in this position with Jordan Reagan coming to the plate. She's worked a walk her last 2 times up against Stamper. First offering from Stamper finds the inner half, and it's 0-1. Malia Smith at short has been so strong today. That one from McMean just sizzling off the bat. And the quick reaction time from Smith was just too late, unable to make the play. There's the 0-1. Reagan pops it up. Foul ground left field line, and it drifts out of play. Count goes to 0-2. Carson-Newman squandered late leads on the road at Lee last week. Dropped both games in that doubleheader via walk-offs against the Flames. Trying to avoid the same fate here against the Rail Splitters. An 0-2 count against Reagan. Stamper comes home, pulls it high and outside on the rise ball, and the count goes to 1-2. McMean, who just tied the game on an RBI double with their team-leading 13th RBI this season, is in scoring position and represents the winning run. The 1-2 to Reagan bounces in, and a strong block from Anne-Marie Richards behind the dish, sliding to her left. Keeps McMean over at second and squares the count at 2-2. Here comes the 2-2. Misses high, and Reagan has worked backwards in this at-bat. Was behind 0-2 and has now battled back to work the count full. This heart of the Rail Splitter order has been so tough today between McMean, Reagan, and Bogoski. Here comes a payoff pitch from Stamper. Reagan, slow roller up the middle. Smith fields at second, fires to first, and we're going to extra innings. But Hannah McMean, who is down to her last out, down to her last strike, rips a double into left center field as Gracie Palmer comes in to score from first. It's 1-1, heading to extras on LMU Sports Network and the Eagle Sports Network. Top of the 8th inning, it's some free softball on the way from the Dorothy Neely Softball Complex. International base run rule in effect, so Malia Smith starts the inning over at second base for Carson-Newman. Abby Martin, Macaulay Bailey, and Grace Gregory. The three due up for the Eagles. Held a 1-0 lead for 6.5 innings before LMU ties it up in the bottom of the 7th on a 2-strike, 2-out double from Hannah McMean. Matt Scalzo with you on the LMU Sports Network and the Eagles Sports Network as Abby Martin swings away on the first pitch from Katie Fultz and fouls it away, and the count goes to 0-1. Fultz in her junior season out of New Tazewell, Tennessee. Here comes the 0-1. Martin clips it straight back, and it's 0-2. Smith with tremendous speed can score on a ball hit to the outfield. As Martin tries to get her first hit, she's 0 for 2 today. The 0-2 misses upstairs against the senior outfielder. The 1-2. Martin goes the other way down the right field line, but it is foul, and the count stays where it is. The 1-2, slow roller towards second, picked up by Vivrette. She'll go the short way to first. Martin is retired on a 4-3 putout. And Malia Smith advances over to second on the 1-2, or on the ground out from Martin on the 1-2 count. Brings up Macaulay Bailey. 1 for 3 today. Trying to add on to her career RBI total. The first pitch to her. She swings, grounds it to second. Vivrette's going home. The throw to the plate is in time. Smith is tagged out on a strong throw from Reese Vivrette. And the tag applied by Jordan Reagan. Carson-Newman shaking its head in disbelief as head coach Michael Graves is going to go to dugout and bring out a pinch runner in this spot. And it's going to be Bailey Worley, one of the backup catchers, as a pinch runner for Macaulay Bailey. Did what they wanted. Got the 2 ground balls, trying to score Smith as the first offering skips in. Good block by Reagan behind the dish, sliding to her right, and then a snap throw back to first. Sees Worley dive back in ahead of the tag. But Reese Vivrette, ball's gone to her both these times in the 8th. She stood tall in both occasions as the 1-0 brushes inside against Gregory. The count goes to 2-0 with 2 away. Worley, a senior out of Black Mountain, North Carolina, has been used as a pinch runner in many occasions for head coach Michael Graves. Here comes the 2-0. Foltz finds the inner half. That's 2-1. Foltz coming in a high leverage spot. Struggled against North Georgia, but has been good since. On the 2-1, a soft liner from Gregory straight to the shortstop in Palmer. And Lincoln Memorial has a chance to walk things off in the bottom of the 8th when we come back on the other side of this break on Eagle Sports Network and the LMU Sports Network.
Coming back in, and 22's coming back in.
Bottom of the 8th inning, LMU with a chance to walk things off as the defense buckled down and held Carson-Newman scoreless in the top of the 8th inning. Malia Smith was the go-ahead run over at third after a ground out from Abby Martin. Macaulay Bailey put a ball in play to the right side of the infield. Smith came home, but Reese Vivrette with a stellar throw over at second was on the money to Jordan Reagan to apply the tag as Smith tried to evade it, but was unsuccessful. And so here comes Hannah Bogoski to lead things off. Jordan Reagan starts over at second, and the first pitch from Bogoski misses, and the count goes to Soft liner from Bogoski off the end of her bat is secured by Smith at short, puts one away. And for the first time today, Bogoski is retired. Had worked 2 walks and had a single her last time, in the 4th, but now she's retired for the first time today. And here comes Ryan Williams, who is 0 for 3. First offering from Stamper, finds the outside corner, and the count goes to 0-1. Stamper at 122 pitches coming into this at-bat. Here comes the 0-1. Williams pops it up. Shallow center field. Martin ranges in and is there for out number 2. So 2 quick outs for Atiana Stamper, and Jordan Reagan has not moved over at second base. And so here comes Cassidy Hack, trying to play hero for the Rail Splitters. If she's unsuccessful, well, we'll go to the 9th inning. As if we were just down on the other end of the parking lot for a baseball game, as first offering to Hack misses inside, 1-0. Corners are even with the bag for Carson-Newman as the wind is blowing in. Here's the 1-0. Hack fouls it straight back and hits off part of the railing. That's behind the netting. But that sits behind home plate at Dorothy Neely Softball Complex. Here comes the 1-1. Stamper's off speed just misses low. And now it's 2-0 against Cassidy Hack. Ground out, walk, and a pop out for Hack, and her 2 times to the dish. Here comes the 2-1. Hack a check swing, and she went around. Stamper handcuffed her on a pitch inside. Count goes to 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 away. Stamper comes home, the break even. Called strike 3. Hack frozen on strikeout number 7 from Atiana Stamper. And she slams the door with a 1-2-3, bottom of the 8th, sending us into the 9th, tied at 1 between number 19 Carson-Newman and Lincoln Memorial on the Lincoln Memorial Sports Network and the Eagle Sports Network. So we go to the 9th here at the Dorothy Neely Softball Complex. 1-1 the score between number 19 Carson-Newman and Lincoln Memorial in game 1 of 2 on this Saturday afternoon doubleheader in Harrogate. Matt Scalzo with you on the LMU Sports Network and the Eagle Sports Network. Exciting day of action ahead here in Harrogate. Also a doubleheader going on just a few hundred yards away from us at the Lamar Hennon Baseball Complex. Anne-Marie Richards lays off, puts a bunt down. Picked up by the catcher in Reagan. Looks back the runner Gregory at second and retires Richards over at first. Just didn't get it far enough in front of home plate, did Richards, to give Gregory enough time to react as Richards is put down on a 1-4 putout. Brings up Addie Saunders, the left fielder. First offering to Saunders, skips in. Count goes to 1-0. Saunders is 0 for 3 today, but has had a clutch gene this season. Had a walk-off single against Barton back on February 22nd. 1-0 from Fultz. Finds the inner half, and it's 1-1. Lefty on lefty matchup between Saunders and the southpaw Fultz. Here comes the 1-1. Fultz goes back to the outer corner, and she finds the zone once more and gets ahead 1-2 against Saunders with one away. Here comes the 1-2. Saunders swats at it, and it goes foul down the third base line. Grace Gregory, the international base runner in this spot, placed over at second. Fultz home on the 1-2, and Saunders drives it foul down the left field line. So the count stays where it is with one away. Katie Mathena stands on deck, and if it gets any further, it would be the designated player, Sarah Walker. The 1-2 misses low from Fultz, and Saunders has worked the count full. Or excuse me, has leveled the count rather at 2-2. Here's the 2-2. Saunders, slow roller straight to the first baseman in Williams. She'll take it to the bag for out number 2. Gregory advances another 60 feet up to third. And so she stands 60 feet away from tying things up. That's as Saunders at the very least does her job and gives a chance for Katie Mathena, who's 1 for 3 today, to break this deadlock 1-1 tie. First pitch to Mathena. Line drive out in the deep right center. The center fielder in Covertier moves into the gap and makes the play for out number 3. So again, Fultz digs in, stands strong, and leaves the go-ahead run left. Marathon game on a delightful Saturday in Harrogate. Some clouds, but they're thin. As showing bunt, putting a bunt down is Covertier. Gregory, the third baseman, picks it up, goes to first, and there's one away. But advancing another 60 feet, and 60 feet away from winning this game for Lincoln Memorial goes Cassidy Hack on a 5-4 sack bunt from Covertier. Brings up Gracie Palmer, the shortstop, who got things going in the bottom of the 7th with a leadoff single and scored the game-tying run on the game-tying double from Hannah McMean in a 2-strike, 2-out count. First pitch to Palmer, misses inside. 1 ball, no strikes. Palmer was hit by a pitcher first time up in the 3rd, then a soft line out in the 5th, and then, of course, the single back in the 7th. Has Cassidy Hack over at 3rd as the infield comes in for Carson-Newman. Palmer showing bunt, pulls back on the 1-0, and swats it foul out of play down the first base side. And the count goes to 1-1. Pressure is on as Stamper tries to buckle down. Another high leverage situation, over 130 pitches now. The 1-1, Palmer, a pop-up. Shallow left field, Saunders makes the play, tagging is Hack. The throw to the plate is in time. But Richards is called for blocking the plate, and the game is over. LMU with a bizarre walk-off picks up the walk-off win as Richards is ruled for blocking the plate, even though it looked like she was to the left field, to the left side of the left field line. But that is how this one ends, a walk-off win for LMU on base runner interference called against the catcher Anne-Marie Richards. And the Rail Splitters knock off the number 19th ranked Carson-Newman Eagles in game one of this doubleheader. And Hannah McMean in a 2-strike, 2-out count in the top or bottom half of the seventh tied it up on a double. And it's Gracie Palmer's sac fly that wins it for the Rail Splitters. In the bottom of the ninth inning, we'll have game two coming up in about 30 minutes time between these two sides. It was an exciting game one. I wouldn't want to miss game two and whatever this one holds in store. Until then, I'm Matt Scalzo signing off for a brief moment. We'll catch you in game two on the Lincoln Memorial Sports Network and the Eagle Sports Network.